Have you ever sat on a long flight from New York to Los Angeles just wishing that the flight could be over sooner? I've made my fair share of cross-country flights, and as time goes on, they never seem to get any shorter. We don't know for sure, but you can bet that the first transcontinental air passengers were thinking the same thing when they made their 31-hour and 45-minute journey from New York to San Francisco. Most people don't realize that modern aviation has only been around for just over a century. In that time, it has made great strides to become what we know today as air transportation. Many events played a role along the way, including the formation of the airmail service, World War II, and the deregulation of the airline industry in 1978. The first major event that helped aviation get on its feet as a source of air travel was the formation of the airmail service. The formation of the airmail service was important for several reasons. Several major corporations would team together, form groups that you may recognize even today, and operate different portions of the airmail routes. For example, Boeing and Pratt & Whitney became the United Airways Group. As demand on the airmail routes increased, the flying had to be done around the clock, which led to primitive navigation systems being developed. The first method was the lighted airway. In 1923, Congress appropriated funding for a lighted airway to allow airmail pilots to travel at night. Lighted beacons were placed on 50-foot towers at 10-mile intervals. As the demand continued to increase, pilots would be called upon to fly in less than favorable conditions. In 1928, the Bureau of Standards would develop the first primitive radio navigation system. It consisted of radio stations placed atop the 50-foot towers in the lighted airway system at 100-mile intervals. These stations would transmit an audible tone, and it is through this tone that pilots would be able to tell if they were on course and how far it was to the next station. The airmail routes would give aviation not only the government backing it needed to be pushed to the next level, but also the public attention. As the airmail routes continued to transform, World War II loomed on the horizon. World War II would again give aviation the backing it needed from the government to further evolve. It would do this through encouraging companies to enter into competition with one another, create various types of aircraft, including closed-cabin passenger aircraft. Douglas Aircraft Company would win the market over time and time again with popular models such as DC-3 and DC-4. Jet engine technology would be developed as a direct result of the war. Britain would pull ahead in the passenger market with the de Havilland Comet. However, due to design flaws, the Comet would become grounded after 4 accidents in 1 year. It is at this time the world population would begin to question the current aviation safety standards. Boeing would learn from these accidents and develop America's first passenger jetliner, the Boeing 707. Many aircraft would be developed in the years following World War II as countries around the world came into the jet age. However, once the airlines became deregulated, the demand by the airlines for more capable aircraft hit the factory floors. The passage of the Airline Deregulation Act of 1978 opened up a world of possibilities for the airline industry. 2 main business models emerged, the hub-and-spoke system and the point-to-point service system. In the hub-and-spoke system, there is one major city where flights originate from, which service smaller cities within short distances. In doing so, it decreased demand for large, long-haul aircraft like the 747 and brought about a new type of aircraft known as a regional jet, capable of carrying 80 to 100 passengers. In point-to-point system, airlines utilize secondary airports such as Dallas Love Field over Dallas-Fort Worth and use one type of aircraft flying from one city to another and continuing on to the next city, all the while changing passenger loads. This allowed for more cities to be serviced and carry a reduced parts inventory for maintenance personnel. The FAA and NTSB were formed as a direct result of the Deregulation Act. As a result, safety standards in the industry are raised to make it the safe form of travel we know today. In addition, the FAA and NTSB spearheaded the growing public concern for aviation's effect on the environment. This led not only to the development of new aircraft, but the assistance to retrofit aircraft already placed into service. Up until this point, international transportation routes were restricted to Pan American Airlines. After deregulation, this was no longer the case, and the model became that if you had an aircraft that could get you there, you were allowed to fly. Many different things brought about the changes in aviation that made it to the safe form of air travel that we know today. However, the major events are the formation of the airmail service, World War II, and the Airline Deregulation Act of 1978.